This is Call with Dads, where we dive into the ups, downs, and everything in between when it comes to being a dad. Here, it's all about connecting with a community of dads who are committed to learning and leveling up as fathers. Welcome to Call with Dads. Let's talk.
Maybe, but you can get further in life if you communicate. It's called communication.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So tell me what you want. I want to wear my red pants today. I think that's a great idea. And he looks at me. All right. And he puts his red pants on. I'm like, the hell do I care what color pants you wear today? But it gives him a sense of empowerment, right? He's like, oh my God, I picked these pants, and then that way, when I do have to tell him no, which is often because I think they have to have structure.
Right.
But then he's like, okay. And he's gotten to the, well, I'll save this part. I got to tell you what I did to him the other day. He was not happy. He was disrespecting his mother, and I was like, okay, bro, no, this doesn't fly, bud.
Well, let's do this. Let's
time.
dig in because since we're already starting to talk about family here, we might as well really start digging in since we've got through all of our other
all the other bullshit.
Yes.
Maybe Tom will join.
Yeah, so if Tom does, we'll bring him on. But so let's do this. Just to give everyone a heads up right now, if you're watching the video, there's two things you're going to realize. One, nothing's bleeped. So be prepared because Walter here, if you watch his podcast, Raw Podcast, you're going to know that he has a few choice words to say on a regular basis. Mr. Pancake, I have a feeling that he's going to go into his natural habitat and just say some things as well. Audio, you might hear quite a few bleeps. Now, if you're watching it, you also know that my background is different. I moved it. So if you see the cats, like you might see one right there cleaning itself, we have a new member of the show. So here we go. So now with all that said and all the fun stuff out of the way, Walter, thank you for coming on. Let's dig into a bit of you, your family, your story, and then kind of really just see where this whole thing goes. So tell everyone a bit about yourself and away we go.
Awesome. Thanks, gentlemen, for having me on. And it's a lot of work being a trophy husband, fellas. You know that. But I think I represent the clan well. It's not all about the good looks I got, but, it's a whole package. And I have I've reached out to you guys because my story with family, when I was real young, not real young. Ooh, look at me. I'm 50 years old now. Yeah, I'm 50 now. When I was in my mid-20s, roughly 23, 24, I was involved in a really bad accident. And being 23, 24, at the time I was 282 pounds with 9% body fat. Ooh. And I was a man. I'm a man, had that whole thing. I'm invincible. I'm going to live forever.
Right.
I have this accident and I get sick. And of course I'm laying at home, not going anywhere. I'm sick. And for 3-4 days, it'll pass. I'm a man. I'll get through it. Mm-hmm. You were able to start seeing my cheekbones and my collarbone. And I was getting real frail. And my girlfriend at the time was trying to convince me to go. But what got me to go was my throat swelled up and I couldn't swallow. I could still breathe through my nose, but I couldn't breathe through my mouth. And of course, that freaked me out.
Right.
So I'm like, to the hospital we go. And they had to come get me I had a Jeep at the time, a Jeep Wrangler, lifted up and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And they lifted me out and they put me in the, gurney, take me in the hospital. And I remember, as clear as I'm seeing you gentlemen here, this big old black orderly, I could barely see his face over his belly because he was like pushing me.
Right.
And he looks down at me and he goes, "You're a lucky man." Okay. And he goes, 106, we pull the sheet over your head. And I go, "I don't know what that means." He goes, "You have 105.2 temperature." And I was like, okay. He goes, why don't you just shut up and relax? And I was like, okay, I'm just going to be quiet.
Yeah.
And it took them a while to figure out, well, they come to find out. Of course, what I'm about to tell you, I found out later because I was completely out of it. It took them, they worked on me. They flipped me over and did that thing on your back where they scratched. You guys know about that, where they put that, they put this like paper thing over your back and it's got little squares on it. And each square has some kind of
an allergic
reaction.
Yeah. So they sit there and they scratch them all on your back to see if you're allergic to something. Nothing. Negative. Couldn't figure out what was making me. Of course, they got me on fluid and doing their thing. And apparently some very young ER doctor came in 6-7 hours later, just in a shift, just walking through a shift, goes, grabs a clipboard and goes, what's going on? And they're like, oh, this guy's got temperature. We're trying to figure out how to bring it down. We can't give him ice bath. We don't go shock. He goes, this is what the doctor told me. He goes, he's just writing on a clipboard. And as he walks away, he goes, just give him room temperature IV fluid. And everybody's like, okay. And 13 bags later, I was at 98.7 or whatever it was. Took 13 bags of room temperature IV fluid to bring me down. And I remember I couldn't feel my arm or part of my side here because it was from 105 to 72. That's a big difference. And it was cold. Spent a couple days in the hospital. Still have some medical issues from it, even, to this day. But the big one was that I get a physical every year. So I was telling my doctor the following year what happened. And he says, you might want to get checked out to see if you're sterile or not. And he goes, because a lot of times that's a side effect of what happened to you. I was like, oh, okay. Get checked out. And what they do is they give you guys ever do that before?
No.
In my experience, well, obviously you know what to do, but they send you a piece of paper in the mail with a pie chart, and it's red and green. And mine was completely red because it gives you the potency, right? Because apparently you can be 70%, 50%, that kind of. Mine was zero, all zero, red. I was like, all right. And the doctor's like, oh, let's be optimistic. And for a decade, every year I got a physical, I got checked, and it was negative, 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 negative. And after about 5 or 6 years, I was like, you kind of lose hope, right? And I've always wanted kids, man. I didn't give a shit if it was a boy or a girl, man. I wanted to have some kind of family. Right. So I believe that me not being able to have kids, it drove me into some pretty fucked up lifestyle, pretty bad choices in my life. Cause I'm like, oh man, if I can't have kids, let's have a good time.
That's right.
And boy, did I have a good time. So, but yeah, and then years and years later, went through a marriage. It was either get arrested or go to jail or get married. And that relationship, a few months later, I physically ran into my wife now. We got talking on a Thursday. Saturday, went out on a date. 12 years later, we're still together. And about 5 years ago, she goes, we were walking out of our apartment, and she walks down the steps and she lifts up her shirt, shows her belly. And my wife is in extremely good shape. She doesn't have a belly. It's as flat as a table. Mm-hmm. But she rubs her belly and it was like, you need to put a baby in me. I was like, because it really started to stress me out, because here's this woman that I love. We have this great relationship, and she knew that I couldn't have kids. And she's like, we need to try. And the stuff going through my mind, fellas, like, what happens if I can't give her a baby? What's going to happen? Right? And
knock on the neighbor's door. Hey, John.
Yeah. No, you kind of look like me. All right, let's try that. Yeah.
Got a task for you.
Yeah. Could you grow a beard? Anyway. So I go get tested. I said, fuck it. Yeah, go get tested. Get the paper back like a month later, all green. I'm like, wait a minute. No. I'm not going to get my hopes up. So I go to the doc. I had a physical, my yearly physical, like 2 months later. So I show up and I hand the doctor, and he was been my doctor at that point for like 9 years. So I hand him the paper, and he looks at it and just throws it on the counter. He goes, it's no big deal. I go, whoa, dude, back this up. You know my story. This is serious, dude. My wife wants a baby. You can't just blow that away. And he goes, that's so common. It happens all the time. And I said,
comes back out of nowhere.
Yeah. And I said, wait a minute. No, I'm still can't wrap my head around this. He goes, all right. If you break down your DNA as a man, what is your DNA's core function? Like you being a man. Breed. Right? He goes,
spread seed.
Yeah, he goes, he used profanity, but he goes, forget your house, your car, your money, your nice clothes, all that stuff. Nobody cares. Your DNA and what's inside, you don't care about any of that. It just wants to breed. You're a healthy man. You don't have a diabetes. You're not obese. You're in good shape. So now your body is like, hey man, we don't have to fight cancer and we don't have to fight any of this. So let's make sure we can breed. And I'm kind of quoting him. Of course, that's not how he was explaining it. And he goes, and then you became sterile. He goes, for lack of better term, naturally. It wasn't an accident, like you got cut. It wasn't like some kind of chemical, like your body naturally shut it down. So your body naturally fixed it. And I was like, I still don't believe you, but cool. So I go home, tell my wife. So we've been trying for a while.
Which is the fun of it all.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course. Practice, right? And
exactly.
Start going to town.
Yeah, but the thing is, with the doctor telling me that, it kind of takes that mental burden away, right? Because before I got tested, I'm like, it ain't gonna work, and you just kind of relaxed, or you kind of stressed because knowing her going, hey man, I need a baby, it kind of puts that stress in you, right?
Right.
So then we relax, we try, and we're trying, which I have no complaints about, but we're trying. And
I'm not a piece of meat.
Yeah. And one weekend, she had that app, hey man, I'm going to be the most fertile for the next 4 days. Ovulation, whatever it was. App. Fellas, I'm telling you, it was on a Thursday, and we were out walking to the car, and I stopped, and I cracked my knuckles, I stretched, and I went, all right, this is it. Let's get after it. And she honestly believes, and so do I, that our son was conceived that weekend. It was fun, man. We had a good time. So 9 months later, Logan, literally he literally came flying into the world. Of course I was there. And that was during COVID, right? Oh man, I forgot about this part.
Yeah.
So they're like, hey man, you got to test. And if you test negative, you can't go in there. And I'm like, whoa, we're going to have a problem. This is not going to be cool. And the nurse goes, go see this young lady. She's going to test you. And I was like, all right, So I walk in and I'm like, just like swelled up and pissed. She can tell I was not in a good mood about it. And she goes, I don't believe in all this shit. I said, okay. And she was messing around and just goofing around in her office. And I'm just sitting there going, okay. She goes, all right, you're good to go. And I was like, okay. And I walked out and she's like, there is no way in hell I'm keeping you from watching your first son be born. And I was like, that's amazing.
Right.
And
somebody is realistic.
Yeah.
Exactly. I walked out of that room and she gave a thumbs up to the nurse, and nurse like, okay. And I was like, woo.
Nice.
But he was, I was there, and the doctor's like, push it, push. Tells my wife, push. And the doctor like had to take a step back, and his arms went up like this, and he's like, woo, here we go. He's out. So he literally came flying into this world, man. But,
That's funny.
and here we are 4 years later. He just celebrated his 4th birthday.
Oh,
Nice.
Congratulations.
Thanks, man.
That's funny. The one thing that is running through my head is, with dealing with all this buildup of, like, for an example, I thought my whole life, because I was far from a saint, I've done a lot of ungentleman things. We'll put it that way. So with all that, I seriously thought I couldn't have kids. But in my case, I never really wanted kids until my wife got pregnant. Then things didn't come to fruition. We'll just say it that way. And then eventually my son was born. And since then, it's always been, I've been a dad. There's no question of it, et cetera, et cetera. But with you going through that whole, I'm never going to be able to have a kid, you want a kid, and what so have you, like, for me, it was, as soon as I became a dad, it was something that I realized it's not the downside I thought it was. Where for you, it was something you always wanted. And the difference that I see is, like, we were in different scenarios, but when you had a dad, how did that impact you now as knowing you can have kids once you found that out? Like, what was going, crap, I can't think of the actual way to say it so I don't sound like a dumbass. What was it basically coming through your head that I'm a dad, holy criminy, I'm a dad, this is what it is? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, the buildup was amazing, right? Because I'm like, oh my God, here's my wife pregnant. And while she was pregnant, I did the classic thing, like I put my head on her belly and I talk major shit to our son. We didn't know his gender until he was born. We did one of those things.
Okay, yeah.
And
it's like, hey boy, you're gonna come out of here and you're gonna play football.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah. But there was a few more cuss words in there. And, but I yeah.
You said okay. All right, good.
Exactly. So I did that too. I'm like, what? I know your mom's beautiful. No, don't worry about it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Did all that stuff too. That was fun.
Her boobs are big. Yeah. They're gonna get bigger as soon as you come out.
Yeah, I was gonna say, thanks, bro, for making them bigger. I did hold him up one time, as he was getting toward the end of nursing. I held him up and I go, see these right here? I want them back, dude. You can't have these anymore. But the build, it was strange because the build-up, it's a great question, right? The build-up was more of, holy cow, somebody's going to depend on me at this point, right? And when he came out, still didn't believe it, like, because when he came out, they called it the spaceship. They don't take him away anymore. Right. It's all in the same room, right?
Yeah, they put him in that thing right there.
Yeah, where we were, they call it the spaceship. So they take him over there, and he's crying and going to the whole belly thing. He's crying, and I'm standing there staring at my wife, and he's crying. And the doula, my wife wanted a doula, and the doula goes, "Hey, Dad, I think your son wants, go see your son." And it snapped out of me. I was like, oh, holy shit, I have a son. Oh my God. Okay, hold on. So I take like 3 steps toward the spaceship and I go, "Hey, buddy." Instantly stopped crying. As soon as I said, "Hey, buddy," silent. I went over there and his 5 little fingers, wrapped around my finger, and he white knuckled my finger, and I was just sitting there staring at it. And I was like, oh, this is real.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about this for a long time, but now it's real. And what makes it really special for me at the time, still does, but at the time was my wife. We still act like high school sweethearts. We talk unbelievable amount of shit to one another. It's amazing. She busts my balls. She don't give me any slack at all. And I do the same thing, you know. I still open the door for her, you know, but I grab her ass when she gets in, you know, and I still do that. And, right? Why not?
I was going to say, my wife and I molest each other constantly.
What's that? Oh, yeah.
I said,
absolutely.
Yeah, every time we turn around, as long as the kids aren't watching most times, or they're not noticing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're watching, bro.
You know, my wife is totally different about that stuff. She doesn't like it at all. Zero. It is only for the bedroom and me and her time, and that is it. Outside of that, she will be like, stop. Serious. I'm like,
it's like, man.
It only came about after the kid, though. You know what I mean? So we were all fine. Like, we were that way because we dated probably for a few years prior to having the kid and getting married and all that stuff. And all of it, as soon as she had the kid, it's like she turned into like a 45-year-old woman. I was like, stop, have fun. You know, you're still young. You know, I mean, I'm 40 and she's 36 now. I'm like we're still young. We're not like grandpas or nothing. Come on.
Even then, dude, I'll still do it. It ain't gonna matter. Yeah. Now, the only time my wife doesn't like it, and of course, you know, I'll respect it unless I'm really in the mood. Like we're at the grocery store or like at a party full of people and stuff like that. You know, she doesn't like it full throttle. But we're at home. There's not a doorway that she goes through or time she passes me where I ain't trying to grope her. And she's like, I got to beat you off with a chair. And I'm like, you're goddamn right you do.
Yeah, you know? Remove the chair.
Yeah, exactly.
So let me ask this. Let me ask this if I can. So your wife knew that you couldn't have kids to begin with, right? So what was, I guess, really, because for me, like the big thing of our conversation is that the expectations of not having and then finally becoming a dad, the excitement that came around it. So your wife knowing you couldn't have a kid, what actually was her response to as soon as everything happened to when the kid came? Like, was it, for no better way of saying it, did you guys both look at it as like the miracle and all this other stuff, or do you kind of look at things differently since you had your son and knowing that for the longest time it wasn't even possible?
So to start that with, when we got together, she was married before as well, no kids, and I don't have kids from a previous marriage either. When we got together, we said, you know, I said, hey man, on like our second date, I go, just so you know, I can't have any kids. And she's like, let's just have a good time then. I said, all right, let's just have a good time. And the years passed, and obviously you build up. And then we got talking about it. And I told her my concerns that if I still can't, and she goes, well, if you still can't, we can go down the adoption route. And of course, I want my own blood, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And nothing against adoption, of course.
Right.
But, you know, I prefer to. And when she got pregnant, because she, you know, I knew she was pregnant. We both know she was pregnant. But then they do that. What, the first like 4 weeks or the first something, don't tell anybody? Was it the first trimester? No.
9 weeks.
Yeah.
So
9 weeks or something like that, right?
Just in case you have a miscarriage or something.
Again, our first go was within that first 9 weeks.
Oh.
So that's why they tell you not to
tell people.
Yeah.
And so I knew that she was it because of my job at the time. I had the same job, but during COVID, it was just hectic. I was putting in super long hours, and I would only go to the like milestone checkups, right? Or the milestone meetings or whatever you call them.
Right.
But she went to the one, and doctor is like, and takes the little ultrasound, and he says, everything looks great. You can tell the world. And she texted me that. And my knees went wobbly, and I leaned against my rig, and I was like, oh my God. And all this emotion came through, like, of course, probably everybody thinks this. Am I going to be a good dad? Is he going to, or he or she, I say he, because I know he's a he, right?
Yeah.
Is he going to be healthy? 10 fingers, 10 toes. Oh my God. Is he,
right.
What happens if something happens to him? All that just flying around. But as for my wife and I, to answer your question, we have a great relationship. But it took it to the stars, man. Having him in our life was like, it accelerated it, because we both wanted it, and it wasn't one of those, let's have a kid to try to fix our marriage. It wasn't one of those, we both truly, really wanted a child. And my wife is just a fucking rock star of a mom. And cool. She's in the C-suite stuff with nonprofits. So I have a sugar mama. I mean, it just life is good, dude. Yeah. But it accelerated our relationship. It definitely is still an adhesive. Do we both have different parenting styles? 180. Yeah. 180. And it took us a year or two to kind of like connect and know that let's go to this. We want the same goal. We're both going to get to the same conclusion, but I go this way and she goes this way.
Who's the spanker?
I'm the disciplinarian.
Yeah.
I just need to walk in the room and give him a look, and he just goes, okay, Dad. Yeah. You goddamn right. Okay. Yeah. So, and there's one thing that I ask him every single day, and there's one thing that I tell him every single day. Our schedule is that I leave at like 4:30 in the morning, so he's not up. So I don't see him in the morning. So then I pick him up from school. And as we goof around, and I put him in the car seat, or he rides in the front seat once in a while, because it's just down the block. Mm-hmm. And I'll look at him. I said, "You listen to your mother today?" And he'll say, and I talk to Mom. We'll say, "Mom." I talk to Mom. He don't know that. And he'll say, yes. Or he'll go, "Well, I didn't want to go to school," or "She didn't let me watch TV." Well, okay. We handle it accordingly, whatever his answer is, right? If he did, praise. If he didn't, different conversation. And then if he's in the front seat, I'll reach over and I'll open palm him. I'll slap him right in the chest. Wow. and I'll go, "Hey, buddy, kindness is a superpower. Kindness, manners, and a good, solid work ethic will get you anything you want in this world. Anything you want. But once in a while, you got to let a motherfucker know." And he goes, "Dad, when will that be?" I go, "I'll let you know." Until you figure it out. Because I go,
not for a while.
Yeah, you can't be a doormat. But it did happen last week. A perfect example. We were one of those play places, those indoor play places.
Right.
And they had these like a little electric go-karts, He gets on it, line of people. So I said, "Listen, buddy, there's a line. See the line of people? Yeah. I'm going to set my timer. You get 10 minutes. When 10 minutes is up, you got to share with somebody else." He's like, "Cool." So he does his thing, gets off 10 minutes. This young girl gets on it. These 3 girls come over. And I don't know if they're sisters or whatever. And they get on it. They got to be 7 or 8. They get on it forever. Wouldn't get off it for nothing. So the mom comes over and goes, "Hey, come here." And the girl wouldn't come over. Finally, she gets the girl to come over. She's dragging this cart. gets really close to her mom's face, screaming obscenities at her mom.
Yeah.
Like F-bomb, S-word, everything. And I'm like, I would have drop kicked you 4 minutes ago.
Right.
What are you doing talking to your mother like that? I'm just like, okay, whatever. It's none of my business. That's you guys. She literally had to bribe her with cash money and to watch anything she wanted on YouTube for 10 minutes to let anybody else ride this thing.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, you're in for a world of hurt in 10 years, whatever.
That's a parent that doesn't want to have to deal with the repercussions of disciplinating her children.
Yeah, 100%.
Sometimes when you discipline your child, you unfortunately, as a byproduct, also have to deal with it. You know what I mean? And it's uncomfortable and it sucks, but it's part of life.
Yeah, guys, fellas, how many times you stand there after you discipline them and on the inside you're going, hey, God, I shouldn't have done that, or I was a little too hard on them, or whatever, whatever you're feeling at the moment. But you can't do that. You got to stand stalwart and be like,
perfect example. My wife does my daughter's hair in the morning. And sometimes she lets her watch a couple of cartoon shows in the morning. So she will sit there and sit still, and she sits there and does her hair. Well, if she's throwing a fucking fit and she's all and she slings the remote or something. Sorry, TV's done. No TV for you. Well, now she has a problem sitting still. So now my wife has to deal with the repercussions of not allowing her to watch TV and do her hair without her sitting still, which she's going to be doing this, this, and she wants to still. So it sucks. It definitely sucks, but slung the remote.
It ain't cool.
Right.
Yeah. But the thing is,
how you don't get TV ever.
Her dealing with that now, 2 years from now, will be so much better for your wife than if she's like, whatever, just watch TV. Right? Yeah. So that's the way we look at it. And I tell my wife, she's shorter. She weighs 120 pounds, I go, it ain't going to be long before you go, no, you listen here. So he's going to be, so what he needs to learn is you respect your mom, you know? But
needs to learn those values.
100%. And then that thing there, the girl finally gives up the little ride, right? So Logan's like, my turn? I say, yeah, buddy, 10 minutes. He's like, cool. Jumps on there, riding around, right? This girl slams her phone down at the bench we were sitting on, runs in, tries to take the cart from the girl that she's with. Again, I don't know if they're sisters or they're just friends or whatever.
Yeah.
My son zooms by, turns, falls off it. This girl runs over and tries to take it from my son. And I'm like, I get to watch, see what happens. And this all happened really quick. So he's hanging on to the little steering wheel thing. She grabs the steering wheel thing, pulls it. He pulls it back. She pulls it. He pulls it back. She slaps his arm. He takes one step forward and shoulders her. She falls on her ass. He looks at me. I give him a thumbs up. She jumps on the thing and drives away. And I'm like, see?
There you go. Yeah.
That's exactly what I mean by sometimes you got to let a motherfucker know. You know, if that's yours, man, you don't let nobody steal it from you. No. Stand your ground, dude. And he's 4. So, but
I try to teach my daughter that sometimes. And I mean, it's a little different with a girl because girls operate slightly different than boys. But try to teach her that stuff at school because sometimes my daughter has like a desire to please others. So she always wants to do like whatever the other kids want to do. And like if they want to play this game, she will just do it and she'll never like get her turn. And then she'll come home and she'll be all pissed off.
Get a turn.
Yeah, and the worst part about it is my wife is like, well, let's try this. I'm like, no. Like, don't try nothing. You go to them, hey, I want to play my game. We played your game yesterday or earlier. It's my turn, you know. And then if the kid doesn't want to, be like, later, I'm going to go over here and just leave and just go somewhere else, go play with something else.
I love it.
Tell the kid to beat Nick's. Get out of here.
Yep.
Like, And my wife and I don't agree on that stuff. I'm like, you have to be that way. You have to be stern. You have to stand up for yourself, because if you don't, you're just going to end up living a life stuck. Stuck always people pleasing, and that's not what you want.
No, you don't want to be a people. Yeah, you don't want to be that in that category for sure.
Right.
No, I mean, be polite. Like I said, be polite and all that.
Right.
But if you want something, be confident about it.
Right.
No problem.
Even as a woman, even as a female or a girl, a young girl, you still need to be confident. I mean, you can't let other girls walk all over you. You can't let other boys in school walk all over you.
Nope.
That's how they take advantage, stuff like that. So, yeah, I teach my daughter the same thing. My wife is a little bit different about it, and she gets a little mad at me sometimes because, I mean, to be fair, I'm like, fucking crack her in the nose, fuck it.
Yeah. Well,
and she's like, don't tell her that. I'm like, come on.
Yeah. I tell my son, you don't start a fight, and if you're
if she touches you, you fucking bust that lip wide open.
No, dude. Well, what I tell him is, somebody starts a fight with you, I want you to bring home a fucking eyeball, dude. No. You finish that shit. Yeah. He's just looking at me like, I don't know what you're talking about, Dad. But I just, and I play, like, I got kicked. You know what Little Gym is? You guys ever do that with your kids?
I've seen them. I've never been to one.
Yeah, you go in and it's like all the pads and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, when he's little, you got to go in there with him, right? As he gets bigger, you don't go in there with him. But he's little, and they had this real thick mat, and he'd come running, and he'd land on my forearm. I'd catch him, and I'd windmill my arm and just body slam him on the thing, and he'd laugh, and he'd do it again. They kicked me out, dude. They're like, you're inciting violence. I go, all right, well, that's cool. I'll go find somewhere else. I didn't even think nothing of it. Thanks, guys. Have a good day. Didn't get mad at him or nothing. It's like, whatever. I'm not going to not show my kid that the world is a violent place. Yeah, most people, like in the world, people in general are cool. Everybody wants good things. Everybody wants to work together. Everybody wants to do good things. But there's evil out there, and you need a good man to handle that evil that's out there for people that can't handle it themselves, right?
And not only that, there's been studies and stuff, and statistics actually prove and show that roughhousing with your children actually helps them develop the separation between, calm behavior and aggressive behavior, and being able to manage it better. And we're just roughhousing with them. It's actually 100%. Better for them in the long run.
Yeah, my hands down favorite quote, and I have no idea who said it, is every man longs for, no, not longs. Sorry, I messed that up. Every man craves for a battle to fight, longs for an adventure to go on, and a woman to save. Right, and you could break that down. So going what you just said, if you're not roughhousing with them, where's that energy? Us as men, man, we need to fight, dude. You're not going to get rid of 100,000 years of DNA. That's building our DNA to go and run from tigers and keep the monsters from coming in the cave. That's what we're built to do.
Yep.
Well, unless you put that stuff in the water, like Alex Jones said, you turn all the frogs gay.
Alex Jones, he should have been the Speaker of the House, or the press secretary. The press secretary.
The press secretary. That would have been a funny day.
I'd watch that every day.
Right. I don't know. What's her name is pretty awesome. I like her.
Dude, she's no joke either. Damn, she's a rock star.
Yeah.
But as men, dude, and when I say a woman to save, I'm not talking about a damsel in distress. Like I talk about what we were talking about with our women. They want a man. They want a masculine man to come around and handle stuff. Anyway.
I mean, in all truth, like my wife, she'll tell me, like, she's Chinese, and she'll talk about how a lot of the Chinese men seem to be a little gayer acting, and even the young, because like for me, I work from home. I deal with people that's in construction. Like, so I'm naturally used to talking to people that you're not going to sit there and go, did you put your nail polish on today, little Nancy? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But my wife works in a kind of a upper level kind of office setting, and she's seeing all these young guys, and she's like, they just seem so girly. And I'm like, she's like, she goes, I feel like when I come home, I'm more excited because I get to come home to a man. And don't get me wrong, I'm not muscular and her every moment of the day, but like the difference is she also knows if somebody tries to do anything, I'm gonna knock the person out, or at least knock them down and bust up their nose a bit. My son knows that.
That's polite. Listen, dude, Mr. Pancake, listen how polite this dude's talking.
My son can hear me, so so keep in mind.
That's how you put that.
He's the polite one in the group.
Oh, that's amazing.
So literally,
I'm the mouthy, aggressive one.
The reason you guys can say whatever you want is I have everything playing in my headphones.
I saw you put them on.
Yeah, my son, like you might have seen me go like this for a moment. He was about ready to run in, and I had to stop him. I'm like, no, stop. So the fact is there's a good chance he can hear me. So I do stay polite, and because
that's awesome. Good for you. We talk. You talk about masculinity and men and all that good stuff. I always refer to the Vikings, right? Everybody knows about a Viking, right? The long ships and what they look like and all that.
Right.
If braids are an African American only culture.
This is amazing, dude. Mr. Pancake, you and I got to get on some shit. Anyway, let's talk about that later. But if you break down the life of a male Viking, sure, we see them like raiding and all that, but that was a small part of it. The big part of it was they're farming and taking care of the community and taking care of their household and their neighbor and doing all that. But when it came time to, put the broad axe on and take a sword, they knew what needed to be done.
Right.
And I like to put that, like my life, in that perspective. Most of the time it's peaceful, and you're like, do I have to yell at my son when he gets out of hand? Sure, of course, because I don't want him to grow up being an asshole.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but I always think of Vikings that way, or like make that comparison, right? So,
yeah, like the Romans. But I would take that into comparison
to boys with the Romans. But anyway.
But take that into comparison with masculinity compared to today. So, in retrospect, there's nobody, slinging axes and chopping people's heads off randomly in the streets. It's a different society, for the most part, with government and stuff like that controlling situations. Justice is served in that sort of manner rather than, you fucking steal from my family, I'm going to cut your fucking arms off and feed them to you. Which is the old school way, which I like that way better.
I was going to say, I'm kind of a fan because that'll stop people from. Why do you think there's no armed robberies in Texas? Because everybody's got a fucking gun.
Everybody's got a gun. That's right. So when you look at the comparison of that way, and you see the difference in masculinity based on our current society, so the more it's weird to think of it in this way, but the more masculine people that you would think would be more geared towards or closer to or more associated with the same similar style people as back in the Viking days, where it was like the big broad dude with the axe, leader, killer, monster, over everybody does what he says. You look at the extremely wealthy, like, heads of massive corporations and stuff, and those people are typically the same kind of masculinity and mindset. So the most famous of them all is, why not throw Trump in there right now? He's got all the alpha personality stages. He doesn't take shit from anyone. You know what I mean? He walks into the middle. There's videos of him walking into the middle of like dignitaries from like 20 countries and shoving them out of the way and pulling up to the front, fixing his coat and going, I'm number one. You know what I mean? But that is the same person. And as though it doesn't seem like it because he's got the groomed hair, the fancy coat, he's all soft skinned and stuff. He is actually the big battle axe crazy dude from the back in the day.
100%.
And you would associate more so the guy at the gym that's all jacked and wears the, the affliction shirt and he's got all the tattoos. You would associate that guy with that guy, but it's actually not true at all.
I can't agree with you more. That guy at the gym with the affliction shirt and $700 worth of gear on is has no self-esteem. Can't figure out nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Most people believe masculinity to be nothing more than big muscles, tattoos, rude behavior, and none of that is true. A lot of people don't realize masculinity is being a leader.
100%. But
being able to control yourself.
Right, exactly. One stressful situation. So like we'll just say the C-suite guys and ladies, right? Mm-hmm. That you're talking about. They run these huge corporations that us three have no idea who they are. Right? They're everywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Why do you think they read Art of War and Marcus Aurelius and do all that? Why do you think they read that shit? Because it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right, exactly.
The same thing of going to battle is the same thing as walking in a boardroom full of bunch of people. You got to have the same mindset. Absolutely, dude.
We just don't have access, but we do, but they're for trees.
Yeah, I mean, could you imagine him coming in with a broad axe and slamming it down in the middle of the table? Now listen here. I'd probably be like, oh shit.
Hey, if it's a bunch of like World Economic Forum creeps,
I'd swing that at a vertical plane, not a horizontal, or a horizontal plane, not a vertical plane.
Like I won't go there and condone it, but I won't stop them.
Yeah, exactly. Hey man, I didn't see nothing. But the other thing that I think of too, I guess, what is it? The TV show from the 20s, the gangster TV show from the 20s, Peaky Blinders.
Oh yeah.
So look at.
I thought you actually meant from the 20s. not played as a show today in reference to the 20s.
But, look at those guys, the way they dress, the way they hold themselves. Of course, it's a TV show and stuff, but even if you look at historical events, the way that people handled themselves back then, that could be, you're being a gentleman. But when you're being that level of a gentleman, you're being a badass.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But
when you hold that level of respect and of not only for other people, but clearly for yourself, other people will respect you as well. And they won't even realize they're doing it half the time.
You should carry that every moment of every day in your life, dude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that's, as far as our kids, that's kind of something that I try to teach my daughter. Like, I mean, I want her to have some of that leadership alpha behavior. At the same time, I also want her to be a woman, be a girl, and not be afraid to be a stay-at-home mom and have no issues with it. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's something that I need, is important to me, is I don't want her to have all the behaviors of like a feminist bitch, like, oh, no man's gonna walk on me, I'm a alpha leader. You know what I mean? But I also want her to not let people walk on her. I still want her to be a leader in some way, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But also still be happy to be led by her husband.
Yeah, no, I agree. And my wife, because where she is, it's kind of like your wife is in the C-suite. By the way, what nationality did you say your wife was?
My wife's Chinese.
Chinese. My wife's Korean.
Yeah, you know what's funny? My wife's Korean. But she's not from Korea. She's from America. She's just of Korean descent.
Same. Her dad was 100%. My wife's dad's 100% he passed away, but was 100% Korean. Right.
All right. My wife came from China, so I had to have a real Chinese. So this way
How
I
much
can
did that cost you to ship?
Well, this is the fun joke I love making.
Well,
so everything's made in China, even my wife.
Oh, dude, I would run. That's a great dad joke. Oh my God, that's an amazing joke.
Here's the other thing is, I had to use cheap labor to get my kids made.
Damn it, dude. I got to figure out how I can incorporate that into Korea.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
I don't know. They make like Samsung and stuff, so that's kind of cool, I guess.
Yeah. I'll have to research that. So
Kia is Kia Korean?
I think Kia is Korean. Yeah. Samsung's Korea, right?
Yeah, Samsung's Korean.
But
LG is Korean.
My yellow. Oh, our refrigerator is LG. I'll have to come up with a joke. But my yellow fever, dude. If you look at my past, I have yellow fever. So hard. Oh, the exotic looking ladies, man. Oh, bro.
See, I've never dated or anything with anyone except for white girls my whole life. And maybe that's due to where I grew up. You know what I mean? I grew up in an all-white neighborhood, middle of the woods in South Florida. Yeah, it was all white girls. I mean, granted, they were all really good-looking, but it was all white girls my entire life. And then, I met one Asian girl, and that was a wrap. So
the only Asian girl you met, you instantly had to marry her.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm mad at you a bit, dude. I completely understand. There's something about him, man. I just and
you want to know what's even funnier about it? She is so close to the rest of the other girls and being a white person that she's actually adopted by an entire white family. She was born in Korea, but she was adopted at birth, so she's American and is naturalized at birth. She was adopted and naturalized at birth because of her adoption. So she's not Korean. She knows nothing of Korean culture whatsoever. She's from Michigan.
She looks like it,
but she looks like it. Yeah, yeah. She's a white girl through and through. Her family's white. Her brother's white. Her dad's white. So
my wife's
she cannot season food for shit.
My wife is a phenomenal cook. Oh my God. But her part of that comes from Korea side, right? Korean side.
Yeah.
But her mom is all Southern Georgia, baby. So
nice.
That's a hell of a combination right there.
Boy,
yeah.
I was stationed in Moody for a while.
Yeah, nice.
For about 4 years.
My brother was down in Campbell for a long time.
Okay, yeah.
But and our son, he looks, some days he'll have the Asian. And when let me ask you this: when your kids were born, did they have the Mongolian patch?
No.
Yeah. Mine did.
Did you on the back, right above their butt?
Yeah,
right?
big. Her whole back was blue. It looked like we thought somebody hurt her or something at the hospital. We realized what it was, but yeah.
Yeah. When my son was born, it was big, right on his back. I was like, it's all hairy, and I'm like, what the hell is that? And Grandma, I call her Grandma, my wife's mom. Grandma said, no, that's a Mongolian patch. That just proves or says that it's Asian descent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
my daughter's was just like a bruise. It was just a blue bruise.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Huh. There was no hair or anything like that. It just her whole back was black and blue, like a bruise.
No shit.
That's what we thought somebody hurt her.
Yeah. And that's what they told you it was?
Yeah, we talked to them about it, and they're like, no, that's normal, just Mongolian patch.
Yeah.
See,
I thought that was cool.
See, for us, it was the jaundice, the only thing jaundice that we had to get through with my son. Yeah. My daughter,
are you sure that's just not her skin?
Well, no, they tested him. They tested him. My daughter, on the other hand, we joke that she is definitely white. She's as white as my mom is, and my mom could pass through a snowstorm unseen. But my mom listens to this, so I'm sure I'll hear about this later. But
she'd be like, "Am I white? Is this white?"
But the fact is my daughter is quite white, but my son he has like a tan, and he has the tint to him. And we joke because, like, you can see probably through the camera, I have a red tint to me, all this. And in the summertime, it gets kind of more red and all this. He has my tint, or he has my, like, his skin gets dark like mine, but he kind of has a yellow tint. The problem is he also has my affliction when I was young. I would get so dark from being outside, people would mistake me as Mexican.
Oh, yeah.
My son has the same affliction there. He could be mistaken as Mexican, Chinese, any culture that has a dark complexion. People look and go.
Surprisingly, my daughter's like that too. She's very, very, very brown, like easily browned. She stays pretty brown pretty easily. And my wife she's tan, but no more than me. You know what I mean? She's not crazy tan, but mildly tan. But my daughter's like brown as could be. I chalk it up to my brother. My brother, me and my brother are both Italian, but I adopted my mom's side, which is more just old fashioned white people,
right?
Like German, Swedish, like that area. You know, that's where my mom's side comes from, and my dad's side comes from Italy. But my dad and my brother are both like they're so brown, like they could be down in the bottom of the sea for 10 years with no light and still come out like dark coffee. You know what I mean? It's just how they are. So I'm like, she must have it from my brother's side. You know, she must get it from my brother because she's tan too. Not quite that tan, but tan just all the time for no reason.
Yeah, I have 3 older brothers. I'm the youngest. And we have a sister in between, but the oldest brother, right? And then the one brother, my sister, and then the brother just older than me, those two, the oldest and what would it be, the third? Right. They would make Hitler proud. White, kind of chunky, crystal blue eyes, blonde hair, you know, the whole thing. Because my grandparents were German.
Okay.
On my dad's side. And then the second brother and me, we got the American Indian side, the higher cheekbones, and I get really dark as well in the summer. And our son, to give you, this will explain it well. My wife looked at him when he was just under 2 years old and goes, "Damn, I have a white baby." You do, baby. Yeah, he's white. He's white. But he has the facial features. He has the Asian facial features. I was standing at Home Depot and the lady goes, "Oh, your wife must be of Asian descent." And I was like, "I'm sorry, excuse me? What the fuck did you say to me?" She goes, your son here, he's a mixed baby." And I was like, that never even crossed my mind, you know, because we're just together. I never looked at it that way, you know?
Right.
And now I look at kids and I look at a kid and I go, "Oh yeah, one of the parents is Asian descent." They got that look. They got that look, right? They got the double eyelids and the eyes are a little. But I tell you what,
my daughter has it. But my daughter's like a chameleon. Like one day she's a white person, and the next day she's like Asian person. It's like it's weird. Stop.
The only thing the only thing consistent with my son is when you watch him walk away, I'm like, "That's me." Yeah, there ain't no doubt he's my son, dude.
Well, let's
my
do
gait
this.
and my build and all that. He's
for sure.
Yeah, well, let's do this, guys. Walter, we're going to be able to go on.
Down?
I am, because I have to go get my kids. So,
that's all good.
This is what I'm going to say is I think this is just part one of our conversation, because we're going to have to come back on, and mind you, if we keep going, I'm going to really pull my hair out with all the bleeping for the audio, but the fact is,
dude, I thought I was doing pretty good. I thought I cut it back quite a bit.
You did. I'm quite good. I've listened to your podcast, so I'm sitting there going, don't get me wrong. At first I'm sitting there thinking, man, I'm going to have to bleep the living daylights out of this show. The audio is just going to be nothing but a tirade.
It'd be like beep beep truck, beep 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 house, beep beep green.
Yeah. So don't get me wrong, I'm very happy about that. But this is definitely going to have to be part 1, and I think the next one's just going to be random, off, no topics, whatever comes up, and we just go haywire and what so have you, because I want to keep doing this. Mr. Pancakes definitely is, I can see he keeps wanting to go on and talk as well. So we're going to schedule you on again. But in the meantime, where do you want people to find you? If they want to contact you, if they want to hear your podcast, where do you suggest they go?
The best place is brawpodcast.com. It's my website, or at brawpodcast is Instagram. You can get me everywhere from there. The website's the best way because it shows everywhere to link. And I'm trying to build up the YouTube community. I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers. That thing's an animal, dude.
Yeah.
So anything you could do with that, that'd be great. But the website, brawpodcast.com, would be the best.
Well, we'll definitely have links for that in the show notes as well. Mr. Pancake, how about you?
Yeah, for sure. The usual, the best place is pancakeswithyourdad.com. There's all the social medias as well, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or X, whatever. I don't know what to call it these days. Then I have a LinkedIn and a True Social. Those are all the 5 locations. Those are the best places. I definitely take comments and messages. If you go to the website, probably the best centralized location to find everything. You'll find tons of books. There's kids' books that we've written, as well as some other just resources for dads. There's a whole page on building and woodworking with plans and instructions and how to, all downloadable, all free. Please go there, just download it all. And then check out our merch. Most of our merch is just all nonsense, but it's fun. Silly t-shirts, silly mugs, hats, whatever else. But a lot of it is how we fund things like my mic here. Everything is spent out of pocket. So anything that you guys buy will definitely help us out.
Well, and then you're also forgetting something, aren't you?
Oh, do you want me to go into that one?
Why not? Let's introduce it.
You got it now, because I want to hear about it.
No, all right, fair enough. Well, some of you guys may on our social media have kind of seen some of the stuff that I've been putting out the past, maybe I would say, week or so. I am in the process. I do have the state license for the state of Florida for the nonprofit. I've been slowly trying to fund and gain money for the application fee for the 501c. I think I'm there. I may be like $20 short, in which case I'll just fill in the rest myself out of pocket, which is fantastic because I thought I was going to end up spending about $100 to $150 of my own money. But I think I got enough money to do it almost all the way, minus 20 or $30. Once I get that application fee, we'll have I'm going to do it this Friday, and I'm going to submit it. It's probably going to take about 6 months before I get the actual 501c, but the rest of it is at least frameworked. The nonprofit is called American Liberty Foundation. It's got a website. It's American-Liberty-Foundation.org. I tried to get rid of the dashes, but the guy who actually owns that one won't sell, and he doesn't do anything with it. He just lets it sit. But that's okay. It's American-Liberty-Foundation.org. There's a lot of stuff on there. There is already 2 courses. They're there for you to do. They're not complete, but they're just text of the courses that eventually will become video interaction courses and stuff for you to do with your family. One's a man's leadership course. The other one's a woman's leadership course. I will eventually have a course that will help children become, learn the framework of, entrepreneurism and being a part of society and stuff like that. There's going to be tons of courses. I have tons and tons of stuff, and I'm hoping to get lots of funding and lots of resources to help rebuild the traditional American family. That's the goal. That's the entire outcome of it. You know, the American Liberty Foundation is designed to be there for America, you know, get families to learn liberty and freedom. You know, that's where that liberty comes from. Liberty is freedom from government, freedom from tyranny, and to self-reliance. And that's the entire point behind the entire thing. Rebuild the American family, the tradition of, you know, American traditionalism.
That's awesome, dude. Love it. I need to, one of my sponsors, I need to hook you up with. Maybe you guys can do some stuff. It's called High Speed Daddy.
Okay, cool.
Like, I had a diaper bag for our son, and it looks like a military tactical bag, but it's a diaper bag.
Oh, nice. Those are cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's got all sorts of shit. He's a Craig fucker. He got me. Now I use a fanny pack when we travel. Thanks to that dude. Game changer, guys. Game changer. You travel. Game changer.
Fanny pack.
But I put it in the front, right? Because they got your passports and everything in the front. So
you unzip and say, "Reach in, honey."
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's classic. Oh, I can't reach that. Can you get it, baby? My goal with my wife is to her to roll her eyes and go, "Oh, shut up, dude." I'm like, yes. Dad jokes are abundance around this joint.
Fanny packs on this guy won't happen unless I'm at the exact same time wearing neon swishy pants as well as Captain Ron sunglasses with the braid. And the fanny pack itself must be neon pink and green.
And green. So like the strap is green and then the pouch is pink or something?
Yeah, with like a little laser design or something.
Oh, now you're going back in the 80s and shit, right?
Has to.
You're going to have a Swish watch too, or what do they call that? Remember that?
Calculator watch.
Nah, wow. And a hat, cowboy hat, neon cowboy hat.
I'll stick with just the cargo pants as a dad. That's about as far as I go.
Yeah, cargo shorts every day for me, fellas. I literally own one pair of pants.
Yeah, I will definitely go out in public with tidy whities and American flag cowboy boots. Not saying it's happened before, but I will definitely do that in public.
Not an image I want to picture.
I was in the military for a long time.
Yeah. You lose your sense of dignity when you do that in the military. But Rodney Carrington, you guys ever hear about that comedian?
Sounds familiar, but I can't place it.
Yeah, I know he is.
Yeah. Years ago, he's like, as you get older, you just don't care about what you look like. You care about comfort. He's like, Dad, where are you going in that sundress? Going to mow the lawn. You look like an idiot. Feels good. It's like, who cares, dude? As long as I feel good. Yeah. T-shirt, cargo shorts. And what's the joke? Yeah. You're picking on me about my cargo shorts, but when you need a napkin, a 10-millimeter socket, or a pulled pork sandwich, you don't give me shit when I pull that out, do you?
And with that.
He's like, all right, he goes, I gotta get out of here.
I have to get my kid. So with that being said, here's what we're going to do. Walter, I'm going to have you hold on. And with everybody else, this is end of the show, at least for as far as you're concerned. Go to callwithdads.com if you want to find more information about us, about the shows, about summaries of the conversation. We put it all there. Everything's there to find, easy as can be. And we have, of course, links in the show notes for every place to find all of us. So that being said, thank you guys. Hold on for me for a moment. Everybody else, goodbye.